Okay, good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday night, so it's halacha and Tanya. So we're up to now in Kitzur Shchonorch. It's an interesting thing. It's the law of the sanctity of what's called Bais Din and Bais Medrash. And a Bais Medrash is basically where people learn a lot. Now, in halacha, I mean, most of the time there it has one halacha. In the dinam of sanctity of a shul, but it's something that people really are not very careful in the dinam of respecting a shul. And as far as we're concerned today, we're talking about a shul, okay? A basic knesset, a shul, whatever you want to call it. According to many opinions, it's even a biblical obligation to honor and respect the shul. According to other opinions, it's rabbinic. But according to all opinions, it is an obligation, whether
Rabbi, sorry to interrupt, but I think there's a problem with your connection.
Yeah, does anybody else have a shaky connection here?
Yeah, it's the rabbi's connection is not good.
Yes, he's very unclear.
Have all fear.
Can't understand at all.
Yeah, I don't hear.
Rabbi, if you can hear me, your audio is distorted because I think your connection is unstable. You might have to log out and log back in.
I'm gonna go. So this, okay, I'm gonna loud out completely. Okay. Okay. Do you hear me better now?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, sorry, everybody. So where do we start? From the end?
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
From the beginning, and the beginning God created heaven and earth. Okay. So we're learning about the respect of a shul. A shul has to be, again, whether it's biblical or rabbinic, it's different opinions. But according to everybody, you have an obligation to respect the shul. It is called a migdash ma'at. It's a miniature Beis Hamikdash. If it's a mini Beis Hamikdash, a person, as I'm going to tell you the way it is, not that people are careful in it. According to halacha, you're not allowed to talk idle words in a shul. Devarim b'telim. Even to make calculations and business, only if it's of a mitzvah. Like if you want to talk about calculations of tzedakah or talking about tzedakah. For according to technical halacha, I'm not saying people don't do it, but in technical halacha, you're not allowed to talk business in a shul because God's home. In the Bais Hamikdash, you don't talk business. It's interesting because most of the biggest financial Jewish deals are done in shul during davening. That's when most big business deals are done during davening in shul. But technically, according to halacha, it's forbidden. And if you can think about it, it's not respectful. It's not respectful in any way whatsoever. I'll give you another example. They have to make sure the shul is clean. A person have to make sure that it looks proper, it's nice. In fact, according to halacha, when you build a shul in a city, the shul has to be taller than all the other houses in the city. That's the halacha. It's supposed to be nicer than all the other houses in the city. Why? It's God's home. If it's Hashem's home, then it should be the nicest, not the ugliest or whatever it is. If you'll have to light candles in the shul and make sure everything is proper. Now, anything that the non-Jewish people do in their churches is forbidden for a Jew to do in their shul. For instance, it speaks about planting trees in a shul. Okay, the Torah says in the Bais Din, the Torah says "Leisita lecha ashera kol eitz." You're not allowed to plant any idol worshiping trees in a shul, because that's what the idol worshippers did in the time of the Torah. The idol worshippers would build trees in their churches, and they would bow to it and pray. A Jew wouldn't be allowed to do that. In fact, according to halacha, it's again that people are not very careful and there's leniencies in it. But according to Shulchan Aruch, it's forbidden to kiss little children in shul. Forbidden. To clear them in kitzur ein lenashi ben banav aktanim. You're not allowed to kiss little kids in shul. Why not? Because in a shul, we are totally showing only the love of Hashem. Only the love of Hashem. About stained glass windows, we're not going to get into the details. You're allowed to have stained glass windows. It depends what pictures and things are on the stained glass windows. Okay, but in the shul, basically, they have to be cleaned. There's tons of dinim. Before you come into a shul, you have to wipe, before you come into the shul, you have to wipe off your feet and make sure there's no mud on your feet. You have to make sure that your garments are clean. You're walking into shul, again, walking into the palace of Hashem, you have to make sure that there's no dirt on your clothing. Even to spit in a shul, and I'll explain the din, because Chabadniks do have a custom of spitting a little bit by Aleinu. You're not allowed to spit in a shul. It's forbidden to spit in a shul because it's disrespectful. Unless halacha says you cover the spit with your shoe, with your with your shoe or your foot. It says you have to, if you spit a little bit, you have to cover them immediately with your shoe or your foot. Which means, in a practical sense, those people, the Chabad custom is that in the middle of Aleinu, when we say the word Shehem Ishtachavim Lehevel Larik, that the idol worshippers bow down to nothingness, we don't want to benefit from the saliva of the mouth. So the minimal saliva that said those words, we spit out on the ground, but you have to cover them right away with your foot. You can't just spit Aleinu and walk away. When you make the spit at Aleinu, Shulchan Aruch says you have to cover the spit with your foot. And Michal, it shouldn't be a lot of spit. Whatever, it's just a few words that you said. Another interesting thing about a shul is that you're not allowed to use a shul for personal usage. For instance, what happens in Shulchan Aruch, it says the case. What happens if it's very hot outside and you want to go into a shul to cool down? They have air conditioning on. So you want to go into a shul to cool down. The din is you're not allowed to. If you want to go in because it's freezing outside, you want to go in to warm up, you're not allowed to. If it's raining and you want to get protected from the rain, you're not allowed to walk into the shul. Okay? Now, what happens, by the way, this means the actual room of the shul. The side rooms, they give a lobby way, a lobby when you come into a shul. That's not a problem. But he's saying in the actual room of the shul, it's holy. You can't make a shul a shortcut. It's a din shulchan aruch. What happens if you want to go in one door and go out another door, or you forgot something and you want to go into the shul to go cut through the shul because you can get a shortcut that way? It's not allowed. Why isn't it allowed? Because the shul is not a shortcut. It's not. It's a holy place. In a holy place, you have to deal with holiness. What happens even if you want to call your friend? There's a din. What happens? I'll give you even a bigger example. I left shul. Okay, I came back. I forgot my keys in shul. I forgot my keys on the table where I davened. You're not, according to halacha, you're not allowed to walk into the shul just to get your keys and walk out. What is the din in Shulchan Aruch say? What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to. Some people actually sit down, but at least you could stand. You stop and you say a few psukim. Some people have a custom to say Ashrei Yoshev Yisecha, a few psukim of Ashrei. Then at least you did something holy in the shul. You're not using it only to come and call your friend or get your keys. Now what happens if, I'll give you, these are just very practical examples. A father leaves shul and his kids are still drinking a cup over there, having a coffee or cake or whatever. And the father wants to leave. He can't walk into the shul just to call his kids, because then he's using the shul as a calling grounds, so to speak, to call the kids. So you have to actually stop and say a few psukim. Not a lot, 1 or 2 psukim. You have to say 1 or 2 psukim. Another interesting then is, according to halacha, you're not allowed to eat or drink in a shul. Also, or to sleep in a shul, even a temporary sleeping. But a tzarech mitzvah you're allowed. In other words, like this that people have a coffee in the shul is really questionable in halacha. Today it's accepted because when they built the shul to begin with, it's built on a condition, so to speak, that people can eat something. You can make a kiddush in the shul. You can drink a coffee in the shul. Should people be drinking water or drinking coffee in the middle of davening? 100% not. It's disrespectful to davening. People do it, but it's still 100% disrespectful. And when you're davening, you don't drink water, you don't drink coffee, especially if you're wearing thousands film, it's wrong to do. But technically, a person should not eat or drink in shul. Now, again, the custom is because they make it on the condition. But one thing I will tell you is for sure, to leave your dirty cup in the shul, no, I'm talking halachically, to leave a dirty cup in the shul is for sure forbidden. Because what you're leaving a mess in the shul. If you make a mess in the shul, just to walk out of shul and leave the mess is a big disrespect to the shul. You're not allowed to do that. Even if you're eating and drinking in a shul, it has to be done in a way of respect. That you clean up the mess, you make sure you don't spill things all over the place, especially and leave. Like Jews like to do. You're not allowed to sleep in a shul, which, by the way, poses a very big halachic problem. Because as everybody knows, when the rabbi gets up to speak, people fall asleep. So now the question is, are you allowed to sleep in the shul? They say, for a joke, one of the reasons why you have a mechitza in the shul, why do you have a separation mechitza between men and women? Because when the rabbi gets up to speak, people sleep, and you don't want men and women sleeping together. So you need a mechitza during the sleeping time. It's a joke, they say. But even a temporary sleep, it's interesting. Sleep is worse than eating. Because sometimes you're allowed to eat a temporary food outside of a sukkah, let's say. But those people that sleep in a sukkah are not allowed to sleep even temporarily in a sukkah. A small nap in the sukkah. Can you talk business downstairs when we eat at the shul? Again, should people talk business? Only if they make up, I'll tell you a personal opinion. You can talk business in shul if you make up that 25% goes to the shul. Whether you make money or lose money, 25% of what your business deals in shul, because the shul really could charge rent. It's an office, your business office. We could charge rent So you should pay 25%. If everybody knew that, by the way, I mean, that's the rule that I just made up. But if everybody would know that rule, nobody would talk business in the shul because they couldn't afford it. No, but I'm saying really, it's very, halachos of the shul are very, very. I'll give you an example. In Shulchan Aruch it says parents have an obligation to make sure kids don't run around in the shul, make noise. And Shulchan Aruch says if they do, they should not be brought to shul. That's what Shulchan Aruch says. Big Shulchan Aruch, Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, kids of Shulchan Aruch. If you bring kids to shul and they're running around the shul, they should be not brought to shul. Why? Because children need to be taught that a shul is a holy place, a respectful place, especially when people are davening, that it's even a holier time because that's what the minyan is davening. And people don't know this, by the way, but it's a very important thing in education that children should be educated, that they come to shul and they have to sit quietly. If they're not able to sit quietly and there's no kids program, Shulchan Aruch said they shouldn't come to shul. Okay, people are lenient in there, but still, if kids come to shul, run around and make a mess and destroy things, it's against halacha. What can I tell you? It's against halacha. Children need to be educated. The problem is when children come to shul and they're taught to be quiet during davening, and then the parents are yakking away, talking. It's a country, it's hypocrisy. So it's hard. Okay, and then there's one interesting din over here. It says when you build a shul, you have to do it with the guidance of a scholar, how and when to build it and where to build it. Now I'll give you a number of examples. There's a lot of dinim about, for instance, the Arden Kodesh, right? The ark where the Sefer Torah is. Unless if you did it on a condition, once that Arden Kodesh is there, you can't move it. It acquires its place. Unless if you expand the shul, make it bigger, then you're giving it a new place. There are questions in halacha, by the way, about making a church into a shul. Are you allowed to make a monastery into a shul? Are you allowed to make a church into the shul? It's a very big halachic issue, by the way. People do it. There are ways of doing it according to halacha. It's not such a simple thing because you can't take a place of idol worshiping and all of a sudden elevate it and make it now a holy place. Transform it to a shul. One thing is for sure, a shul is not allowed to be sold, not to a church, not to a tannery, not to a bathhouse, things that are not respectable professions. A shul, you can't go down in that kedusha. You can't go down in the kedusha of a shul to sell it for things which are despicable. For instance, there's a lot of dinim in a shul. For instance, where the shulchan has to be. I'm going to just say basic parts for those that maybe don't know. The Arden Kodesh is the ark where the Sefer Torahs are. Then you have the Amud. It's called the Amud. That's where the Chazan stands when he leads in service. Then you have the Shulchan, is where they read the Torah. There are dinim about each one of these things, who, what, when, and where. Okay? There are laws about where does the Shulchan. Let me give you an example. If you ever learn halacha, there's an expression in halacha about the chazan, Yered lifnei hateva. If you look in Gemara, Shulchan Aruch, there's an expression, Yered lifnei hateva. He goes down before the box, meaning the Amud. Why? It's not done nowadays. In the times of the Gemara and later, the chazan, where the chazan stood, was lower than the rest of the shul. Why? Because David HaMelech says in Tilim, Shira Males, Mima Amakim, out of the depths, Krasith Chayudke, I call you Hashem. So therefore the custom was the place where the chazan stood was lower. So therefore it says the chazan would go down to the amud to the place where he davened. Years ago, in many places today also, the shulchan where they read the Torah was higher up. If you go to the old shuls, the shulchan was higher up. That's why when people use the expression, he had an aliyah to the Torah, aliyah means an elevation. Why did they call it aliyah? Simply, why did they call aliyah to the Torah? Because you would have to go up steps to get to the place where they read the Torah. So it's called aliyah. You went up. Physically, you went up. Physically, the chazan went down. Today, halachically, it's kosher even if it's not. But for instance, the shulchan, the bima, which we read the Torah on, is supposed to be in the middle of the shul. Now, the Rebbe writes, the letter from the Rebbe, that as long as there's one row of chairs, even not a row, but a few seats, in front of the shulchan, between the shulchan and the Aron Kodesh, it's good enough. But if you look in Shchonar, the shulchan has to be in the middle of the shul. And in fact, again, for clarification, I'm using the words even though we don't generally classify Jews. In a conservative and reformed shul, temple, they don't have the shulchan in the middle. Not only that, the shulchan's all the way in the front. And when they read the Torah, they face the people. That's, according to halacha, it's forbidden. It's similar to, as halacha says, to the churches, the way they used to be. It would be halachically forbidden. The shulchan has to be in the middle of the shul. The Rebbe writes what happens if the shul is smaller, the setup of the shul. So then the Rebbe writes it should be at least one row of chairs in front of the shulchan, then it's no problem. But if it's a shul, not like, if you know, upstairs in 770, the whole room is set up that you stand. So over there was no seat in between. But a normal shul, if you have a shulchan, you must have a row of seats between the shulchan and the Aron Kodesh. Okay? Unless if it's moved much further back. There are laws about the mechitza. The mechitza, the separation between men and women. There are halachos in Shulchan Aruch. How tall a mechitza has to be, how high the separation between men and women has to be. There's a letter from the Rebbe. The Rebbe writes a mechitza should be at least 6 feet. At least 6 feet. It has to be a mechitza that when you look at the mechitza, you don't clearly see the people on the other side. I'm just saying there's a lot of halachos concerning the Aron Kodesh, concerning the shulchan, concerning the amud where the chazan davens, concerning the mechitza. Now there's another issue. A proper shul faces, in America, we face east. Why do we face east? Because that's where Yerushalayim is east from America. It's going east, okay? In some places of Europe, there would be davening south. In other places, there would be davening north. Because depending where you are in relationship to Eretz Yisrael, so if you're west, you face east. If you're east, you face west. I mean, wherever you have to face Yerushalayim. If in Yerushalayim, you face towards the Beis Hamikdash. These are all halachos and daven. Now, a lot of shuls, because of the practicality of it, they don't face east. There are many shuls in America, even in LA, that they don't face east. And that's not the proper, I'm not saying the shul is treif, but it's not the proper way people should be facing east. People should be facing east when they daven. That's what it says in Shchonar, because the tefillah goes through Yerushalayim, so we face Yerushalayim, that prayer should go through Yerushalayim and the Beis Hamikdash. Even though there's no Beis Hamikdash today, but the place is still holy. So there's a lot of dinim, how a shul should face and the direction of the shul and on all those things. There's a lot of details in it. If you're praying, you're praying in a desert, you face east. You try to face east, and it says you should try to face the wall. You're not allowed to daven in. It says in Shulchan, you're not allowed to daven in an open field, because then your mind's going to wander all over. You should try to find a secluded place. We mentioned not very long ago that the story is the Rebbe Rashab, the fifth Rebbe, and the son, the previous Rebbe, were once walking. The Rebbe Rashab had to walk for health. So they were walking together and they were talking Torah, obviously. And it came time for Mincha. So where they were, they noticed that a short distance away was like a little cave. So the Rebbe Rashab said to his son, let's go daven, daven in an open field. Let's go to the cave, we'll daven. And after they daven Mincha, the Rebbe Rashab said to his son, I want you to know, whatever year of creation they were that. He said, for 5,000 whatever years, when Hashem created the world, 5,000, now it's be 784 years ago, Hashem knew that two Jews are going to need to daven Mincha in this area. So Hashem built the cave 5,700 whatever years ago, that two Jews, when they need to place to daven, they're going to be able to daven. There's a lot of dinim involved in the shul, how to daven, where to daven, having pictures in the shul. It depends, having, somebody was mentioned before, the colored glass. It depends what part of the shul it's in, what's on there. Is a lot of laws. I'm just saying, it's a lot of laws. Therefore, Kitzur finishes these dinim by saying, when you build a shul, you need to have a scholar there to know all the various different laws, how to build it, what to build it, when to build it, what kedusha it has. Then you have, it's getting late, but you have a lot of other laws about people donating something, and putting something in their name. Let's say they give X amount of money for the Aron Kodesh. And then the shul expands and they get a new Aron Kodesh. Do those people still have the old rights to the new Aron Kodesh? Or is it a different Aron Kodesh? It's a different thing. There are a lot of complicated laws in a shul. By the way, a lot of responses in halacha have been written about a shul, all the dinim, what you're allowed to eat, what you're not allowed to eat, what you're allowed to do in the shul, what you're not allowed to do in the shul. With pictures. In fact, in many shuls, they would have on the Aron Kodesh, they would have pictures of lions. Have you noticed many shuls? The older, today's shuls, they don't do it. But in the old shuls, they would have sometimes lions on the pareiches in front of the Aron Kodesh. And halacha discuss, are you allowed to have that? Because you're not allowed to face davening animals. Looks like you're davening to the animal. So if it's above the average height of a person, that means you'd have to look up to see it. That's not a problem. So let's say you have a very tall Aron Kodesh, and on top of it, you have two lions or whatever, images. So then it wouldn't be a problem, because when you're not davening to the lions, but at face level, you wouldn't be allowed to do it. Okay, to be continued. By the way, I just want to mention, Mitzvah next week, Wednesday, we're going to have a class where we're going to learn the dinim of Purim, and the Chassidus will be, instead of Tanya, will be in Chassidic Insights to Purim. And after Purim, Wednesday night, we have the Pesach classes, the 3 Pesach classes between Purim and Pesach. Okay, so let's go now to Tanya.